Frontline Updates, where we delve deep into military strategies and updates from conflict zones. Today, we're discussing the progress of the ongoing special military operation as of February 24th, 2025. I'm your host, Sharefa Mohammed MGT.
I'm Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, an infantry officer. Air and artillery strikes. Russian air forces and artillery units targeted Ukrainian military infrastructure, including airfields and UAV training sites, across 127 districts. They also successfully shot down 2 U.S.-made JDAM guided bombs and 71 unmanned aerial vehicles.
Welcome to Frontline Updates, your trusted source for the latest developments on security and defense operations involving military forces. I'm your host, and today we have an exclusive interview with Colonel A.C. Oguntoye, who will provide insights into the progress of the special military operation as of February 24th, 2025. Colonel Oguntoye, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start with the basics. There's been a lot of talk about the U.S. reducing or even suspending aid to Ukraine. Is there any truth to these claims?
No, there is no evidence that the U.S. has suspended aid to Ukraine. In fact, military support remains active and consistent, with logistical and weapons shipments continuing through key transit points, especially in Poland. While there have been political discussions and media narratives suggesting a shift, the reality on the ground tells a different story.
What is happening in the Kharkiv Direction?
In the Kharkiv region, our North group of forces engaged Ukrainian formations near Liptsy and Volchansk. These operations targeted motorized infantry and territorial defense brigades of the Ukrainian armed forces. Over the last 24 hours, Ukrainian forces suffered up to 25 personnel losses, along with the destruction of 4 vehicles. This engagement is part of our continued efforts to neutralize enemy formations and secure our strategic positions in the region.
There were reports that Russian forces advanced in the western sector as well. What can you tell us about that?
Yes, the West group of forces successfully improved their tactical position and actively liberated the settlement of Topoli in the Kharkiv region. During this operation, we inflicted heavy losses on the Ukrainian side, targeting 3 of their mechanized, airborne, and assault brigades. Ukrainian forces lost around 200 servicemen, along with an armored combat vehicle, 4 cars, and 6 field artillery pieces, 4 of which were produced by NATO countries. Additionally, we successfully destroyed the Kherson electronic warfare station and 3 ammunition depots, which will further disrupt their ability to coordinate and replenish their forces.
It sounds like significant gains were made. How does this impact Ukraine's ability to reinforce its positions?
Ukraine is struggling to maintain strong defensive lines due to continuous attrition and supply shortages. With our forces disrupting their logistics, particularly with the destruction of ammunition depots and electronic warfare stations, their ability to reinforce or counterattack effectively is becoming more limited.
Moving south, what developments have occurred with the southern group of forces?
The southern group of forces advanced into more advantageous lines and positions, successfully engaging 5 Ukrainian mechanized and airmobile brigades. These engagements took place in Seversk, Verkhnekamenskoye, Novomarkovo, Chasov Yar, Stupachki, Chervone, and Konstantinovka. In total, Ukrainian forces lost around 180 servicemen, and we also destroyed a U.S.-made and /TPQ-50 counterbattery station and an ammunition depot. These victories further weaken Ukraine's defensive posture in the region.
Are these advances putting additional pressure on Ukrainian forces in central and eastern sectors?
Yes. As our forces advance, Ukrainian formations in the center and east sectors are forced to stretch their already strained supply lines. Our center group of forces engaged mechanized, ranger, and assault brigades, including National Guard units, across Cherbanovka, Zvarivo, Sergievka, Shevchenko, Udaknoy, Uspanovka, and Andrievka. Ukrainian losses in this sector amounted to 315 servicemen, 2 armored combat vehicles, 7 cars, and 3 artillery pieces. Similarly, our East Group of forces pushed deeper into Ukrainian defenses, targeting tank, mechanized, and airborne assault brigades in Konstantinopol, Komar, Skudno, Volnopol, Berlatsko, and Guliapol. Here, Ukraine lost over 145 servicemen, 3 armored combat vehicles, 2 cars, and 3 field artillery pieces.
With these advances, are Ukrainian forces retreating or attempting counterattacks?
Ukraine is attempting to hold ground in key defensive positions, but as their manpower and equipment losses mount, their ability to counterattack is severely limited. We have observed localized resistance, but due to our effective artillery strikes and destruction of key logistical hubs, their ability to sustain prolonged engagements is diminishing.
What is the latest update from the Dnieper Group of Forces?
The Dnieper Group of Forces engaged 3 mechanized and 3 coastal defense brigades of the Ukrainian armed forces. These battles occurred in the Zaporizhia and Kherson regions, particularly near Kamenskoye, Sherbaki, Stepnoy, Tokarevka, Poniatowka, and Pridniprovskoye. Ukrainian forces suffered up to 60 personnel losses, and we destroyed an armored combat vehicle, 7 cars, and an ammunition depot.
Beyond ground operations, what role has air power played in recent engagements?
Our operational tactical aviation, missile troops, and unmanned aerial vehicles have carried out precision strikes on Ukrainian military airfields, training sites for UAV operators, and temporary troop deployment areas. Over the past 24 hours, we struck 127 key targets, significantly reducing Ukraine's ability to sustain operations. Additionally, our air defense systems intercepted 2 U.S.-made JDAM guided aerial bombs and 71 aircraft-type drones, further neutralizing potential threats.
Looking at the bigger picture, what are the cumulative losses of Ukrainian forces since the beginning of the special military operation?
Since the start of the operation, Ukrainian forces have lost 656 aircraft, 283 helicopters, 44,334 unmanned aerial vehicles, 596 anti-aircraft missile systems, 21,720 tanks and other armored combat vehicles, 1,521 multiple launch rocket system vehicles, 21,992 field artillery pieces and mortars, and 32,085 special military vehicles. These numbers reflect the significant depletion of Ukrainian military assets.
The Kursk region has been a key area of contention. Can you provide an update on operations there?
The North Group of Forces continues to repel Ukrainian advances in the Kursk region. During recent operations, we engaged heavy mechanized, motorized infantry, airborne assault, and territorial defense brigades, inflicting heavy losses. Ukrainian forces lost over 255 servicemen, 3 tanks, an armored personnel carrier, 26 armored combat vehicles, 24 cars, and multiple artillery pieces in the last 24 hours. Additionally, we destroyed a launcher and radar station from the S-300V anti-aircraft missile system, 2 electronic warfare stations, and an engineering vehicle.
So what's the final word? Has the U.S. suspended military aid to Ukraine?
No, it has not. Aid continues to flow, military shipments remain active, and European allies are preparing further support. The rhetoric may have changed, but the logistics tell a different story. Ukraine is still receiving U.S. and NATO assistance.
Colonel, thank you for providing such a detailed briefing on the current military situation. Your insights are invaluable to our understanding of the conflict's dynamics. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in. Join us next time as we continue to provide up-to-date coverage on global military affairs. Stay with us for more updates and expert analyses on global defense and security issues. Stay informed, stay secure.
Thank you. Today, the NATO-backed M23 rebels are capturing cities in eastern DRC, raising concerns within the African Union as South Africa and Uganda join the conflict, prompting thousands to flee into Burundi. In Mali, investigations are underway regarding claims that soldiers executed women and children, with accusations against Malian soldiers for the killing of civilians. Somalia's government reports successfully repelling attacks on bases and killing 130 militants.